Good morning. Some of the barriers that I face in an intercultural community is that number one, I live in Japan, so obviously there is a language barrier. Another thing I face is that I'm a Christian, so obviously some of the things that I believe are not what the mainstream media believes. And just with the living in Japan part, there is actually a lot of stereotyping here because of obviously the bomb that we sent to Japan. There is still some of the older Japanese that stereotype us as bad people. So the quote that I kind of used is all Americans, the same mentality, that we're all the same. And one thing that we actually are fighting is that we are targeted whenever we're driving. The way that the Japanese stereotype is Americans living here have a Y on their license plate of their car, and the Japanese have kanji letters. So whenever a police officer is out targeting people, all they have to do is look for the Y plate and they know, oh, it's an American, I should go after them and ticket them. Another thing is the being a Christian part is that the term in the book uses is ethnocentrism, which is the negative judging of another culture because of my culture. And I feel like a lot of the time people feel that because I'm a Christian, oh, I'm going to judge and, put blame on people for their choices of lifestyle, when in reality I try to steer very clear of that. Another thing I also found was that I use a lot of nonverbal communication while I'm here because of the language barrier, and lots of hand movements because obviously I don't speak Japanese. And one of the nonverbal cues that the Japanese give is whenever we leave a restaurant is they bow when we leave as a sign of respect, and they're also quieter individuals, very tight-lipped, not a lot of smiling. And they're also very non-confrontational. So if there's ever an issue that arises, they don't ever want to come up to you and confront you about it. They would rather just leave you alone and not mess with it. Another thing is that just while living here, we have to deal with once again, the stereotyping is that all Americans are the same. So whenever you go out in town to dinner, a cultural difference is Japanese are very quiet, like I said, and the Americans are very loud. So if you look around and you're with a bunch of loud Americans, the Japanese will typically look at you and give you dirty looks. In saying all of this, I'm not saying that all Japanese are like this, just like they don't need to think that all Americans are like that as well. But those are just some of the cultural barriers that I deal with while I'm living here. Thank you.